My girlfriend said, I want to be with you, but I need to test if we're compatible long term. I'm going to date other men for 6 months while you wait. I said, great idea, and started testing my compatibility with her best friend. What happened next? Throwaway account for obvious reasons. This happened about a year ago, and the ending is so satisfying I still smile thinking about it. TLDR at the bottom, but honestly, you'll want to read the whole thing. I, 29 male, work in financial analysis in Denver. 3 years ago, I was making $42,000 as a junior analyst, living like a monk while my buddies blew money on cars they couldn't afford and bottle service. My plan: grind hard, save every penny, build a foundation first, then live better. Fast forward to now. Got my CFA, worked extra hours, climbed to senior analyst at $75,000, and just landed a portfolio manager gig at $92,000 starting next month. The long-term strategy was paying off. Enter Jessica. Met her at a Capitol Hill house party 10 months ago. Absolutely stunning blonde, perfect figure, smile that made me forget my own name. She was a social media manager, making maybe $32,000 but living like she pulled six figures. Designer everything, trendy low-dough apartment probably costing $2,400 a month, always at the newest restaurants. When I asked how she afforded it, she'd laugh and say she was good with money, or her parents helped sometimes. Red flag number one, but I was thinking with the wrong head. The first few months were incredible. Amazing chemistry, fun to be around, felt like I'd won the lottery. But the signs were there. She'd forget her wallet constantly, pout when I suggested cooking at home, call my apartment cozy, and my Honda Practical, Instagram code for not impressive enough. Worst were the comparisons. Ashley's boyfriend bought her Tiffany for their 3-month anniversary, or Emma's guy surprised her with Aspen, always with a sweet smile, but the message was clear. I started feeling pressure. Expensive dinners, overpriced concerts, a $280 purse for her birthday. I was even saving for an engagement ring, had $3,800 set aside. Looking back, I realized she wasn't dating me. She was investing in what she thought I might become. And when that investment seemed too slow to pay off, she decided to diversify her portfolio. The beginning of the end started in March. I'd been working extra hours preparing for a big presentation to our executive committee that could lead to my promotion. Coming home late, tired, not as available for expensive dinner dates and weekend trips. She started acting distant, checking her phone constantly, being more critical about everything. You work too much, she'd say. What's the point of making money if you never enjoy it? Which was rich coming from someone who'd never made any real money herself, but sure knew how to spend mine. Then came the gym membership. She announced she was joining this high-end fitness club downtown, $140 a month, because she needed to invest in herself and network with successful people. I suggested the $25 a month Planet Fitness near my place instead. She looked at me like I'd suggested she exercise in a garbage dump. Babe, you don't understand. It's not just about working out. This place has the right kind of people. Professional people. People who can help both of us grow. Professional people. Right. I found out later it was where all the finance bros and real estate agents hung out. The kind of guys who drive BMWs, their daddies bought them, and wear $180 jeans to the grocery store. That should have been red flag number 50, but I was still convinced she loved me and was just going through some kind of quarter-life crisis or whatever. I had no idea she was already shopping for my replacement. The conversation that changed everything happened on a Thursday evening in late March. I'd just gotten home from work after a particularly brutal day dealing with a client portfolio that had taken a major hit in the market volatility. I was exhausted, stressed, and looking forward to just ordering pizza and watching Netflix with Jessica. But she had other plans. She was sitting at my kitchen table, the cheap one I'd bought from IKEA when I first moved in, wearing this new workout outfit that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She had that look on her face that I'd learned to recognize, the one that meant she was about to ask for something expensive or criticize something about my life. We need to talk about us, she said, not even looking up from her phone where she was scrolling through Instagram. My stomach dropped. Because in my experience, conversations that start with, we need to talk, never end well. Okay, I said, grabbing a soda from the fridge and sitting across from her. What's up? She finally looked at me, and I could see she'd been thinking about this conversation for a while. There was this calculated look in her eyes, like she was delivering a presentation she'd rehearsed. I've been doing a lot of thinking about our relationship and where it's going, she started. And I think we need to be honest about some things. What kind of things? Well, like the fact that you're still figuring your stuff out career-wise, And I don't know if I can wait around indefinitely for you to get to where you need to be. The words hit me like a slap. Here I was, working my tail off to build a better future for both of us, and she was treating my current situation like some kind of personal failing. I'm not figuring my stuff out, Jessica. I'm building a career. I'm 3 years into a field that's growing like crazy. I just got a promotion, and I'm interviewing for an even better position. This stuff takes time. She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes. That's what you said 6 months ago. And 3 months ago. It's always next promotion, or next opportunity, or just wait until I get my certification. Meanwhile, we're still living like college students. We're living within our means while I build something stable. That's called being responsible. That's called being boring, she shot back. Do you know what Ashley's boyfriend surprised her with last week? A long weekend in Cabo? Just because. When's the last time you surprised me with anything? I surprised you with dinner at that steakhouse downtown 2 weeks ago. That was for my birthday, Tyler. That doesn't count as a surprise? I could feel my temper starting to rise, but I tried to keep my voice calm. So what exactly are you saying here? She took a deep breath, like she was about to deliver the punchline to a joke I wasn't going to find funny. I think we should take a break for a few months so I can explore my options, and you can focus on getting your career sorted out, just to make sure we're right for each other, long term. The words hung in the air between us like a toxic cloud. I stared at her, trying to process what she'd just said. You want to take a break so you can explore your options, I repeated slowly. It's not just about me. You could explore your options too. Maybe we'll both realize what we have is special, or maybe we'll realize we're settling for each other. And during this break, you'd be dating other people. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. I looked at her sitting there in her $180 workout outfit, talking about our 10-month relationship like it was some kind of business arrangement that needed to be restructured, and something clicked into place. You've already got someone in mind, don't you? The slight flush in her cheeks told me everything I needed to know. There's this guy Derek I met at the gym. He's been asking me out, and I keep saying no because of us. But maybe the universe is trying to tell me something. Derek. Of course his name was Derek. Probably drove a white BMW and had never worked a day in his life. What does Derek do for work? I asked, even though I already knew the answer was going to irritate me. He's in real estate development. He just closed this huge deal on some luxury condos downtown. Translation: Daddy gave him money to flip houses, and he thinks that makes him a businessman. So let me get this straight, I said, standing up and walking to the window so I could think more clearly. You want to put our relationship on hold so you can go test drive some rich boy while I sit here and work on my career like a good little boy? It's not like that, Tyler. This would be good for both of us. You're so stressed about work and money all the time. Maybe if you had some space to focus, you could actually make some progress. The condescension in her voice was unbelievable, like she was doing me some kind of favor by offering to go see other guys while I improved myself enough to be worthy of her. How long? I asked. How long? What? How long of a break are we talking about? I was thinking maybe 3 or 4 months. Just enough time to really explore what's out there and make sure we're not settling. 3 or 4 months. Enough time for her to see if Derek was willing to upgrade her lifestyle with me as the backup plan if things didn't work out. All right, Jessica, I said, turning back to face her. If you want to test the waters, let's test them properly. She looked surprised, like she'd expected me to fight for her or beg her to reconsider. You're okay with this? I'm okay with finding out what we're both really worth, I said. But if we're doing this, we're doing it right. No contact during the break, no checking in on each other, no social media stalking. When the time's up, we'll see where we both ended up. Something flickered across her face then, like maybe she hadn't thought through all the implications of what she was proposing. That seems extreme. You want to explore your options without any pressure or guilt, right? Well, this is what that looks like. As I watched her text Derek about her newfound freedom, I realized that sometimes the most important tests aren't the ones you study for. They're the ones that show you who someone really is when they think they can get away with anything. She wanted to explore her options? Fine. She was about to find out what her options were actually worth. Jessica moved out that weekend. Not to her own place, that would require paying rent, but to her friend Brittany's couch. She packed her designer clothes and expensive skincare, making sure to take the $280 purse I'd bought her while leaving behind anything cheap or practical. I'll text you when the break is over, she said, loading her stuff into her Jeep Wrangler, lease paid by Daddy, I later learned. This is going to be good for both of us. The first week after she left was liberating. I'd been spending so much mental energy keeping her happy and keeping up with her expensive taste that I'd forgotten what focusing on myself felt like. I threw myself into work with new intensity, stayed late, volunteered for extra assignments, spent weekends studying instead of blowing money at overpriced brunch spots. Without Jessica's constant need for entertainment and validation, I could actually focus on building something. Meanwhile, her very public social media showed her living her best life with Derek. Photos at fancy restaurants I'd never heard of, videos at rooftop bars where cocktails cost $16 each, weekend trips to Vail resorts that cost more per night than I made in a week. Derek was exactly what you'd expect. Mid-30s, magazine jawline, suits costing more than my monthly rent. His Instagram was luxury cars, expensive watches, and million-dollar real estate listings. The kind of guy posting motivational quotes about grinding while living off daddy's trust fund. But social media only shows what people want you to see. What Jessica didn't show was that Derek was also dating two other girls, thank you mutual friends, or that he'd made it clear he wasn't looking for anything serious. She was just another rotation player, too blinded by expensive dinners to see it. 6 weeks into our break, something interesting happened. My supervisor called me in for what I thought was a routine check-in. "Tyler, I've been really impressed with your work lately," she said, "especially how you handled the Henderson portfolio crisis. You saved us a major client. Thanks. I appreciate that." "Well, I think you deserve more than appreciation. We're restructuring the investment team, and I want you to lead the new high net worth client division. You'd manage 3 analysts, oversee our highest value portfolios, and work directly with executives. The salary would be $102,000 base, plus bonuses pushing you over $115,000 your first year." I accepted on the spot. I didn't post about the promotion on social media, didn't update LinkedIn, didn't tell mutual friends. I had a feeling this information would be useful later, and I wanted to control when it came out. Around the same time, Jessica's posts got more desperate. Less, "Look how amazing my life is," and more, "Why are all men trash content?" She posted long rants about dating apps being full of hookup guys and how hard it was finding someone who wanted something real. The irony was lost on her. Through the grapevine, I heard Derek ghosted her after 2 months when she started wanting to make things official. Her other prospects weren't better. One had a gambling problem, another was married looking for a side piece, the third was unemployed but pretending to be an entrepreneur. Meanwhile, I was settling into my new role, building relationships with major clients, actually becoming the successful professional I'd always known I could be. I bought a 2022 Accord, reliable and appropriate for client meetings. Started looking at houses in better neighborhoods. Without Jessica's constant pressure to spend money impressing her, I could actually enjoy my success. Could afford nice things without debt, take trips without worry, live like a successful person because I actually was one. 3 months after our break started, I was completely different than the guy she'd left behind. I'd leveled up in every way that mattered. Jessica was about to discover her options had been exploring her right back, and decided she wasn't worth keeping around. 4 months after our break started, I was working late at the office when my phone buzzed with a text from Jessica, the first direct contact we'd had since she moved out. "Hey, can we talk?" Not, "How are you doing?" or "Hope you're well." Just straight to business. Classic Jessica. I didn't respond right away. I was in the middle of preparing a presentation for a major client, and honestly, I wanted to see how desperate she'd get if I made her wait. She sent 3 more messages over the next 2 hours. "I know things ended weird between us, but I think we should talk. I miss you. Please just text me back." Finally, around 8 p.m., I responded, "What's up? Can I call you? Or maybe we could meet for coffee this weekend." I could practically feel the desperation through the phone, but I played it cool. "I'm pretty busy with work stuff, but I could do coffee Sunday afternoon. Central Coffee on 17th. "Perfect. See you at 2? "Sure." What she didn't know was that I'd spent the last 4 months not just advancing my career, but also meeting someone incredible. Sarah was the director of finance at a client company we'd been working with for months. She was 31, had an MBA from Northwestern, and was absolutely brilliant at her job. More importantly, she was beautiful in a completely different way than Jessica. Confident, sophisticated, the kind of woman who commanded respect in boardrooms and could hold her own in any conversation. We'd been working closely together on a major portfolio restructuring for her company, and the professional relationship had gradually become something more. Dinners after long planning sessions turned into coffee dates that lasted 4 hours. Sarah was everything Jessica wasn't. Financially independent, she made more money than I did, actually. Intellectually curious. Supportive of my goals because she had ambitious goals of her own. She could talk about everything from market trends to art to politics, and she never once made me feel like I needed to prove my worth to her. When I finally asked her out officially, she said yes without playing games or making me jump through hoops. When I told her about my recent promotion and my plans to buy a house, she was genuinely excited for me instead of immediately calculating what it meant for her lifestyle. We'd been dating for about a month when I decided to make it Instagram official. I posted a photo of us at this incredible new restaurant downtown, the kind of place Jessica had always wanted me to take her to, but I couldn't afford back then. Sarah looked stunning in a black dress that probably cost more than Jessica's entire wardrobe, and I was wearing a suit that actually fit properly. The caption was simple: great food, better company. Sunday came, and I showed up to Central Coffee exactly on time. Jessica was already there, sitting at a corner table, and I could immediately see that the last 4 months hadn't been kind to her. She'd lost weight, but not in a good way. Her hair wasn't as perfectly styled as usual. Her clothes were still designer, but they were pieces I recognized from when we were together. She wasn't buying new stuff anymore. She looked tired, stressed, and desperate in a way that she'd never looked when we were dating. "Tyler," she said, standing up to hug me like we were old friends catching up. "You look great. Really great." I did look great. I'd been working out consistently, eating better, sleeping more. Success is a heck of a drug. "Thanks," I said, sitting down across from her. "How have you been?" "Good, really good. I mean, it's been a crazy few months, but good." She was trying to project confidence, but I could see right through it. This was a woman who was drowning and trying to pretend she was swimming. For the next 20 minutes, she gave me this heavily edited version of her life since we broke up. Derek was amazing, but they wanted different things, so they mutually decided to see other people. The other guys she dated were fun, but not serious relationship material. She was exploring new career opportunities and really focusing on personal growth. It was all nonsense, but I let her talk. Finally, she got to the point. "I've been thinking a lot about us lately," she said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. "About what we had and whether I made a mistake." "You? What kind of mistake?" "I think I was too focused on where we were instead of where we were going. You always said you were building something, and I wasn't patient enough to see it through. This was Rich. 4 months ago, I was a loser who needed to figure my stuff out. Now suddenly she could see my potential." "What makes you think that now?" I asked. "Well, Brittany mentioned that you got promoted and that you're doing really well at work." There it was. Brittany's roommate had talked, and word had gotten back to Jessica that I was no longer the struggling junior analyst she'd left behind. "Yeah, I've had some good opportunities come up," I said, deliberately understating it. "That's amazing. I always knew you had it in you. You were always so smart and hardworking. I guess I got impatient. Impatient. Like my career development was something that was happening to her, instead of something I was working my tail off to achieve." "So what are you thinking?" I asked. "I'm thinking maybe we should try again. I've learned a lot about myself these past few months, and I think I'm ready to be the kind of girlfriend you deserve. Someone who supports your goals instead of pressuring you." The audacity was breathtaking. She'd spent 4 months seeing other guys, and now that none of them wanted to keep her around, she was ready to come back and support my goals. "That's interesting," I said. "What would that look like?" "Well, we could take things slow. Maybe start with dating again. See how it feels. I know I hurt you, and I want to make up for that." She was leaning forward now, using that smile that used to make me forget my own name, probably expecting me to jump at the chance to get back together with her. Instead, I leaned back in my chair and smiled. "Jessica, I appreciate you reaching out, and I'm glad you've had some time to think about things. But I don't think getting back together is the right move." Her face fell like someone had just told her Christmas was canceled. "Why not?" I thought. "I mean, don't you miss what we had?" "What we had was me working my tail off to build a future while you complained about not being there fast enough. What we had was me spending money I couldn't afford to keep you happy while you looked for someone with more money to spend. That's not fair, Tyler. I was young and immature, but I've grown since then." "Have you? Because from what I hear, you spent the last 4 months doing exactly what I thought you'd do. Chasing guys with money until they got bored with you." Her cheeks flushed red. "That's not... Who told you that? Does it matter? The point is, you made your choice 4 months ago. You decided I wasn't good enough as I was, and you wanted to see what else was out there. Well, you saw what else was out there. How'd that work out for you?" She was quiet for a long moment, staring down at her coffee cup. "I made a mistake," she said finally. "I know that now. But people make mistakes, Tyler. That doesn't mean we can't fix this." "You're right," I said, standing up and putting on my jacket. "People do make mistakes, but some mistakes have consequences, and some opportunities don't come around twice." I pulled out my phone and showed her the photo of Sarah and me from Instagram. I'm seeing someone now. Someone who appreciates what I bring to the table instead of constantly complaining about what I can't afford. Her eyes went wide as she looked at the photo. Who is she? Someone who makes her own money and doesn't need me to pay for her lifestyle. Someone who dated me when I was making $75,000 and is still dating me now that I make twice that. You make twice that? Got promoted to portfolio manager. $102,000 base plus bonuses. Just bought a house in Stapleton too. The color drained from her face as the full reality of what she'd thrown away hit her. As I walked away, I could feel her watching me leave. Part of me felt a little bad for her. She looked genuinely devastated. But a bigger part of me felt like justice was finally being served. After the coffee shop conversation, I thought that would be the end of it. Jessica had shot her shot, I'd turned her down, and we could both move on with our lives. But I'd underestimated just how desperate she was becoming. The text started the next day. I know yesterday didn't go how I hoped, but I really think we should talk more. I understand if you need time to think about it. I just want you to know that I realize what I lost. I ignored them all. Then came the social media campaign. Suddenly she was posting throwback photos of us together with captions like missing the good times and sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone. She started liking and commenting on all my posts, even old ones from months ago. It was pathetic, honestly. Meanwhile, my relationship with Sarah was getting more serious. We'd started talking about moving in together, maybe combining our resources to buy a bigger house. She was brilliant, successful, and treated me like an equal partner instead of a walking ATM. But the biggest development was when Sarah mentioned that her company was looking for a new senior financial analyst for their satellite office in Austin. The position paid $165,000 plus equity, and she thought I'd be perfect for it. It would mean relocating to Texas, she said, but the opportunity is incredible. And I've been thinking about making a move myself. My ex-husband lives in Austin, and I'd love to be closer to my daughter. Sarah was divorced with a 7-year-old daughter who lived with her dad in Austin. She only got to see her every few months, and it was clearly hard on her. The opportunity to move closer while advancing both our careers was too good to pass up. I wanted it. A $165,000 job in Austin with the woman I was falling in love with, working in my dream field with unlimited growth potential. But first, I had some unfinished business to take care of in Denver. Through a combination of social media sleuthing and conversations with mutual friends, I was able to piece together just how bad Jessica's situation had become. She was 3 months behind on her share of rent at Brittany's place. Her credit cards were maxed out. The promotional modeling gig she'd been doing paid maybe $180 a month on a good month. Her parents had cut her off financially after she'd blown through $2,800 they'd given her for job training, which she'd actually spent on clothes and dinners with Derek. Most importantly, she was counting on a commission from some multi-level marketing scheme she'd gotten involved with. Some health supplement nonsense, where she'd recruited a bunch of her friends and was expecting a big payout that would solve all her financial problems. Here's where being good at financial analysis comes in handy. A few searches and some basic research revealed that the MLM company she was involved with was already under investigation by the FTC for being a pyramid scheme. They were about to be shut down, which meant all those commissions she was counting on were never going to materialize. But Jessica didn't know that yet. I also discovered that she'd been lying to everyone about her job prospects. She claimed she was interviewing for a marketing position at some tech startup that would pay $68,000. In reality, the company had already filled the position weeks ago, and she'd never even gotten a call back after her initial interview. The woman was living in a complete fantasy, telling everyone she was about to turn her life around, while her actual life was falling apart behind the scenes. That gave me an idea. I called my buddy Jake, who works in real estate development. Coincidentally, the same field Derek was in. Jake owed me a favor from when I'd helped him understand some complex investment structures last year, and he was happy to help when I explained the situation. "So you want me to pretend to be interested in hiring her for a marketing role?" he asked. "Not just any marketing role. A senior marketing manager position for your company's new luxury condo project. 6-figure salary, company car, expense account. Make it sound like the opportunity of a lifetime. And then what? Then you string her along for a few weeks. Tell her the position is hers, but there are some bureaucratic hoops to jump through. Get her hopes up, let her start making plans, maybe even let her tell people she got the job." Jake laughed. "And then pull the rug out? And then pull the rug out." The plan was simple but elegant. Jessica was desperate for a way to rebuild her life and prove to everyone, especially me, that she could be successful on her own. A high-paying job offer would be exactly what she needed to feel like she was back in control. except it would all be fake. Everything came together in the span of 48 hours, and it was more beautiful than I could have imagined. It started on a Tuesday morning when the FTC shut down Jessica's MLM company. I knew about it before she did, because Sarah had given me the heads up through her industry contacts. All of Jessica's expected commissions, the $4,800 she'd been counting on to solve her financial problems, vanished overnight. According to Brittany's roommate, Jessica spent Tuesday crying and making frantic phone calls to her upline, trying to figure out what happened to her money. The company's website was down, the phones were disconnected, and the founder had apparently fled to the Cayman Islands. Wednesday was even better. That's when Jake called Jessica to update her on the hiring process for the fake marketing position. He told her there had been a complication with the background check, and they needed to postpone the start date while they worked through some corporate restructuring. She completely lost it, Jake told me afterwards. Started crying on the phone, asking if this meant she didn't get the job, begging me to tell her what the problem was. I felt almost bad for her. Almost. By Wednesday evening, Jessica's entire fantasy was crumbling. The MLM money was gone, the job offer was in limbo, and she was facing the very real possibility of having to move back in with her parents in Colorado Springs with her tail between her legs. That's when I got the phone call. Tyler? Her voice was small and shaky. Can we please talk? I really need to talk to someone. What's going on? I asked, even though I knew exactly what was going on. Everything is falling apart. I don't know what to do. Do you want to get coffee? Same place as before? Yes, please. Can you meet me in an hour? She was already at Central Coffee when I arrived, sitting in the same corner booth where she'd tried to win me back a month earlier. But this time, she looked completely broken. Red eyes from crying, no makeup, wearing sweatpants and a hoodie I recognized from our relationship. This wasn't the polished, manipulative woman who dumped me to explore her options. This was someone who'd hit rock bottom and was finally facing reality. Thank you for coming, she said as I sat down. I know things have been weird between us, but I didn't know who else to call. What happened? For the next 30 minutes, she told me everything. The MLM company getting shut down, the job offer getting delayed, how she was behind on rent and maxed out on credit cards, how her parents had cut her off and she was facing the possibility of having to move back home as a complete failure. I know I messed up, she said, tears starting to flow again. I know I threw away the best thing I ever had because I was greedy and stupid, but I'm drowning here, Tyler. I don't know what to do. I let her talk, let her get it all out. The desperation, the regret, the admission that she'd made a terrible mistake. Everything I'd wanted to hear months ago when she first left. Finally, she got to the point. I know I don't deserve your help after everything I put you through, but I was wondering, I know you're doing really well now, and maybe you could. She couldn't even finish the sentence. You want me to give you money. Not give, loan. I would pay you back as soon as I get back on my feet. I leaned back in my chair and studied her face. This was the moment I'd been building toward for months. The woman who dumped me for not being successful enough was now begging the same man for financial help. How much are you talking about? I need $2,800 to catch up on rent and minimum payments on my cards. And maybe another $1,800 to get me through the next couple months while I find a job. $4,600. To the old Tyler, the one who'd been working for $42,000 and living paycheck to paycheck, that would have been an impossible amount. To the new Tyler, making $115,000 with bonuses and equity, it was a nice weekend trip. That's a lot of money, Jessica. I know, but I swear I'll pay you back. I'll get a job, any job, and pay you back every penny. I was quiet for a long moment, letting her sit with the desperation. What happened to Derek? I asked. Or any of the other guys you were exploring your options with? Her face flushed with embarrassment. Derek. Derek said he doesn't get involved in people's financial problems. And the others. They're not really the type to help with stuff like this. So the guys with all the money that you left me for won't actually help you when you need it? Please don't make this harder than it already is. I'm not making anything harder. I'm just trying to understand. You left me because I wasn't successful enough. Spent 4 months dating guys who were supposedly better than me, and now you're asking me to solve your problems with the money I made after you left. I know how it looks. How it looks? Jessica, you told me I needed to figure my stuff out before I was worthy of being with you. You said I was boring and that we were living like college students. You literally moved out to go test drive other men because you didn't think I had enough to offer. She was crying harder now, but I wasn't done. And now those same men won't return your calls when you need help, but you think the guy you dumped owes you a bailout? I was wrong, she said. loud enough that other people in the coffee shop turned to look. I was wrong about everything. You were building something real, and I was too stupid to see it. I threw away the best man I've ever known for a bunch of guys who didn't give a darn about me. You're right, I said. You did. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. A job offer email from the company in Austin that Sarah had connected me with. See this? This is a job offer for $165,000 a year plus equity. In Austin. I'm moving there next month with Sarah. Her face went white as she read the email. The house I just bought? I'm selling it for a $35,000 profit after 6 months of ownership. The car I drive, the clothes I wear, the restaurants I can afford to eat at, all of it came from the career you thought wasn't good enough. Tyler, please. And the best part? Sarah makes more money than I do. She has her own house, her own car, her own investment portfolio. She doesn't need me to pay for her lifestyle because she built her own lifestyle. She dates me because she actually likes me, not because she's hoping I'll eventually make enough money to keep her happy. I stood up and put on my jacket. I hope you figure things out, Jessica. I really do. But you made your choice when you decided I wasn't good enough as I was. You can't dump someone for being broke and then ask them for money when they're not broke anymore. Wait, she called out as I started to walk away. Please, I'll do anything. I'll sign a contract. I'll pay interest, anything you want. I turned back to look at her one last time, sitting there in her sweatpants, crying into her coffee, begging the man she'd discarded for a loan to cover the life she couldn't afford. You want to know what anything would look like? I said. She nodded eagerly. Anything would be you posting on social media about what really happened between us, about how you dumped me to date guys with more money, and how you're now asking me for financial help because those guys won't help you. Anything would be you telling all our mutual friends the truth about why our relationship ended and who you really are. Her face went red. I can't do that. Then you can't do anything. I walked away and didn't look back. 2 weeks later, I was in Austin starting my new job and looking at apartments with Sarah. According to mutual friends, Jessica moved back in with her parents in Colorado Springs. She deleted most of her social media accounts and apparently told her family she was taking a break from dating to focus on personal growth. Jake eventually told her the marketing job never existed. She apparently didn't even seem surprised. The last I heard, she was working retail at some outlet mall and living in her childhood bedroom, telling anyone who would listen about the successful ex-boyfriend who changed after he got money.